Alrighty, so while you guys are grabbing the graph stamps, make sure, starting this week, if homework's not turned in on time, I have to start giving you zeros, okay? So if uploading through the Blackboard app is not going well, that's on you to figure it out. I've already messaged them, I'm waiting to hear back, but I can't fix it on my end necessarily. So you guys got to make sure you're covering your tushies and getting everything turned in on time, okay? The other big thing is you got to make sure you're showing me work, all right? Because what I'm noticing on the quizzes, which you'll get back tomorrow, is a lot of the people who weren't showing me any kind of work on the homework were the ones that took the biggest L on the quiz. Same thing with studying. Everything that was on that quiz you've seen, okay? But we had weird crap happening. Like, legitimately had somebody write -7 over -15 and leave that as a final answer. I'm like, bro, freshmen know not to do that in Algebra 1. Come on. So let's get started copying these down if you have not already. All right, just write down the problems, please. Guys, there's 2 stamps. We should have 2 people up here stamping at the same time. All right, so we are starting into piecewise functions today. So has anybody not seen piecewise functions before? Okay, we should have all seen them before. So if you are doing this without a calculator, the easiest way to do it is to create a table and to color code each section of your function. So if I'm looking at this first one, let's just say I'm going to do that in blue. All right, so it's talking about if every x is less than 0. Okay, so one of the first things you're going to want to make sure that you're doing is you start at 0, simply because you're going to need to know where to put that hole on the graph. All right, and then numbers that are less than, do we have to go by onesies? Or can I be kind of lazy and jump around? So could I go -2, -4, -6? That would get me the same amount of information, but I'm going a little bit further on the graph. All right, so if I plug in 0, I get 3. If I plug in -2, I've got -1. Next one's -8 plus 3, which is -5. And then I think that -6 might go off the graph. So what you're doing with this is you're going up to 0, 3, put an open circle, -2, -1, dot, -4, -5, dot, like this. Now, when it comes to making a straight edge, most of you have your driver's license or debit cards or anything like that. Obviously, you don't want to leave this lying around, but those are the easiest straight edges you've got. All right, so let's start making the table for the other side. Do we have a color of choice? Pink? I can find pink. We going pink, pink. So again, we're starting at 0, but we're going greater than. Now, notice it's multiplying by a -1/2. Pick even numbers when you go to plug that in, because let's be honest, even numbers divided by 2, we can find those. Three. Bless you. All right, so because these start at the same point, like literally I'm going to do the blue open circle with the pink inside. So it's continuous on my graph, but I want to document that the point I'm actually picking is really the pink one. 2, 2, 4, 1. 6, 0. Good. Yeah, so the biggest thing you want to do is make sure that you're color coding, because with piecewise functions, you want to know which table matches with which part of the function. But it also makes it a lot easier to see which part of the graph you're going to, work-wise. And I do have tons of colored pens back there. Morgan? Huh? You've got two different functions, make two different tables. Okay, that way you know which one came from which graph. All right. So when it comes to actually going through and finding values, those restrictions on the side, like x is less than 0 or x is greater than or equal to 0, tell you which function you're plugging values in for. All right, so if I'm looking at f of -2, which one am I looking at, blue or pink? Blue. All right, and luckily, because we've already graphed it, I've got my answer. It's just -1. F of 0, on this one, we're focused more on the pink because that is my closed circle, but they happen to be at the same spot. So that's 3. And then f of 2, we're looking at pink, and we've already got that, and that is 2. Worst thing we've ever done. This week should be kind of light because it is a shortened week, and Friday we've got that PEP assembly. But the only things that'll be on that quiz are piecewise function and parent functions. So the A, H, K, C shifts and everything like that. All right. Here is our next one. Bless you. Do we want me to kind of scoot the questions out of the way so we can make the tables and stuff first? All right, what colors do we want to pick this time? I have all of the colors imaginable. What kind of green? Just regular green? Lime green? Dark lime green? Pretty good. All right. So let's start up here with that one. All right, and I'm going between -3 and 1. So -3. Now that middle one, do I have to make a table for it? No, it's literally just one point. We're going to make it its own color. We're just going to call it red. So basically that middle one is saying if x equals 1, the point is at 2. So you could literally just go through and color in that dot for it, and look, you're already a third of the way done with the problem. All right, so if I'm looking over here at my green one, I've got 6 plus 1 makes 7. 5, 3, 1, -1, but I've got a hole there. Okay? -1, open hole. Now remember, you are stopping at -3, so this line is not going to go on forever and ever. Color that. And then what color do we want to make for that bottom part? Purple. A different purple or same purple I always use? I can go like that one. One above it? Okay. Ooh, hang on. All right, so for that one, It's just x squared, but we're starting at 1. We could go, I'm going to stop there because let's be honest, 4 squared is 16, and I guarantee nobody has room for that. Open circle at 1, 1, 2, and 4. Nope, went too far to the right. So is this graph continuous? So think about the word continuous. So the problem is continuous means no jumps. This little mess right here, while I do have values all the way through, it's not continuous because there's a jump here, and then it goes up, and then it stops right here at -3. All right, so this would not be considered a continuous graph. So that first question is, what's the domain of f? So what x values will actually work for this? What's the furthest to the right it goes? -3. All right, so the furthest to the, furthest to the left. It's Tuesday. All right. Furthest to the left is going to be -3. It is included. And then, does it go all the way to the right forever, never, never? Yeah. So the reason I know that is because it just says x is greater than 1 here, so it's going to keep going. This top one in green stops at x is -3. The breaks don't count for domain, but they're going to count for range. Do I have any intercepts? Where at? So look for when x is 0 or y is 0. 0, 1. And is that an x-intercept or y-intercept? Y. Do I have any x-intercepts on this? Where? Yeah, so if you're ever stuck at that and you're trying to find the x-intercept, the only one that it looks like it crosses is green. So you need to figure out where y equals 0 for that. So 0 equals 2x plus 1. So I've got an x-intercept at -1/2. The 2 should be negative? Oh, then that's going to make all this positive. All right. Now my last part is range. And range is honestly easiest to figure out if you just look at the picture. So, what is the lowest this graph goes? -1. Is it including the -1 or no? No, because it's an open hole. Now, as this goes up for the green, you see how eventually it starts kicking in with purple where it's double counted? You don't need to double count that. Okay, so it starts here at -1, goes up, up, up with green, and then it becomes purple, and it overlaps forever. Okay, does that make sense? Yes? So -1 to infinity does not include it. And then we got a word problem. You might also see one on your homework that is a function called int, I-N-T. It just means integer. I'll write it up there in a second. Like, just round it up to the nearest whole cent. I'm wondering how accurate that is. Did you guys know in the state of Ohio you can pick who you pay for electricity? I'll show you. So, fun fact about Ohio, you guys can actually pick who you use for electric and gas. It's a little bit more of a pain in the butt than I think people make it out to be. So most of us have AEP, just because we're all in Columbus. So current rate for AEP is, I don't know if you guys can see that, 7.25 cents. So you can actually price compare. Right? So I could go with this Median Energy Corp, and then I'm paying 13 cents a kilowatt hour. So it doesn't always make sense to change who you're using, but like gas prices right now for natural gas, 18 cents. Like, why would you advertise that you're almost triple what my normal electric company is charging me? Sometimes you can end up getting like cash for it. Just a fun fact. So like Columbia Gas right now is going up to $1.10 for natural gas. And then if you look at some of these prices, I can get it for half price. I just have to sign up and go through this company. So it's a variable rate. There is no intro price. It goes month to month. And apparently there's promo offers. But this one offers 75 cents. So it's kind of cool to look at, but kind of terrifying because you have to stay up on it. So would it be easier to write this out as a piecewise function instead of writing it as a paragraph? That's what you did? You're like, I'm not writing all these stupid words. So if I'm looking at this, all right, they charge me $6.50 just for, needing to use them for electricity, like I have many choices, plus 9.99 cents per kilowatt hour for the first 800 kilowatts. All right, so I've got the $6.50 that they're charging me no matter what, plus 0.09997x. And this is going to be for x is between 0 and 800, but I have no room. All right. Then it becomes 0.89997 for all usage over 800 kilowatts. So for that one, am I still being charged the 9 point whatever, we'll just call it 10 cents. 10 cents per kilowatt? Yeah. So what they tend to do is they do like tiered pricing. So you have to pay the $6.50, that's their like distribution fees. Then they're going to charge you 10 cents per kilowatt for the first 800. Then they're going to charge you lower, about 9 cents for everything on top of that. So my second formula is going to be the $6.50 plus for every x that is greater than 800. So it says for all usage over 800 kilowatts, so you get charged the higher rate, and then if you go over, they drop your rate price down, but you still have to pay for that original 800 kilowatts. And what you can do, if you don't want to use the 0.09997x, you can just multiply that by 800. Oops. And just replace like this part, if you really wanted to, with 79.976, because you know you're going to get charged that no matter what. Does that make sense? Because you've used over 800 kilowatt hours. All right, so if I'm using 300 kilowatts in a month, which formula am I using, black or blue? Black. All right, so 650 plus 0.0123. Well, let's change that and actually use black. 36.491. Do you guys think they're ever going to see electric bills that low? No. All right, 1,500 kilowatts. Which formula am I using? Black or blue? All right, so 650 plus, and because I'm lazy, I'm just going to plug in the 79.967 because I've used over that. All right, now, one thing I would like to point out is this last one. It's only for usage over 800. So should I subtract off the original 800 that I did? So I'm not double counting it on this last one? Yeah. So I say we change that as well. Close. I got 149 plus some semblance of change. What do you guys think? Tuesday after a long weekend. Yeah, so this one I plugged in 800 times that, and I got the 79. Because I know I've paid for those 800 kilowatts. And then for the second part, everything over the 800, that's what I'm getting charged at for that rate. Because I already paid for my first 800 kilowatts right here with a 79. Because remember, it says you pay this for the first 800 kilowatts. And this is for any usage over 800. So 801 gets charged at that cheaper rate. Okay. And then for part C, it's just like, okay, develop a model. So should we clean up our model a little bit? Just so we have it official. And then does it help if we go through and write where all the numbers came from? Yeah. A little too far. What was it? 79.976. Bless you. Now, if I write it out like that, is that better? Where we can figure out where all the money came from. Have you guys ever actually seen like what an electric bill looks like? So if you've had me, we've done the mortgage project before.